Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. I am solo hosting tonight, but we have an opposition fan, as we always try to do on the pre-matches. So, what a show it's going to be for you. Sorry if we delayed it 15 minutes, then 15 minutes again, but we was expecting Luke the Nuke to get the darts done a little bit quicker, so we could let you watch the darts and still watch the channel. So we have tried to time it so the darts would be finished, but at the minute, he looks like he is going to win, Luke the Nuke, but he is still going at this moment in time. But yes, here we have Craig. How are we doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Thank you for having me on, Dan. And yeah, he's making tough work of it, isn't he? It looked like he was running away with it, and then all of a sudden, it's kind of like, yeah, he's given Van Gerwen a bit of a leg up to try and make it a little bit more competitive. But yeah, I'm sure he'll get across the line.
Oh, here we go. We're doing the comments straight away.
Oh,
Pause
there
has
we
said,
go.
it's all over, Dan. He's done it. And Emma then goes on to say, glad you did delay it a little bit because we know everyone was watching the darts.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you watch a young talent? He is robotic. I honestly, my partner doesn't even like darts, and she was watching with me. She goes, I actually don't mind darts now because I think he really does make it entertaining. He's so good.
Oh,
He
he
doesn't make
is.
it boring. He just gets the job done so quick, doesn't he? He makes it look easy. But I said to her, it's not always like that. They do miss doubles sometimes, but he is insane.
I think the nerves were getting the better of him, weren't they, at the end a little bit? And hey, it's to be expected, when
He
there's
already
so
knew.
much riding on it. Yeah,
He already knew he'd done it and took the foot off the gas. I think, didn't he? I
yeah.
think he already knew the job was done. We are live on X, so if you're listening on X, you can come over on YouTube. The link's there. I was just retweeting it as well. So we are live there. And if you do want to come over on YouTube and join in, we have loads of regulars in the comments. Emma, pause, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more in the comments. Get involved. We'll have a little chat. What we do on the Toffee Bluecast is we give you a good insight on the stuff. So we look at Bournemouth form, we look at Everton's form. We'll do a Bournemouth lineup prediction. So we'll do Craig's prediction. We'll do an Everton lineup prediction. We want you in the comments to get involved with your lineup prediction. And we finish the show with score predictions. So it's a cracking build-up the night before the big game. So get involved in the comments, and I'll try and chuck as many as I can on the screen. So let's have a look then. What have we got here? I mean, we played you. And you had
Yes.
probably set a record. You set a record. We was 2-0 up, 88th minute, 2-0 up. You just wouldn't believe this story, would you? 2-0 up, 88th minute, and you scored three goals and you beat us. And a draw, I would have
Mm.
been absolutely gutted if you would have got 2-2 in that game, but you got 3-2. Talk to me about it.
Um, you're probably expecting me to come on here and say, yeah, what a fantastic performance it was from Bournemouth. I personally thought for 88 minutes, it wasn't. It wasn't. It seemed like, of course, we were beaten up at Goodison the year beforehand. It was slightly better than that, but I thought that Sean Dyche seemed to have got the better on Iriola. I think Iriola's high press was kind of nullified. And to be fair, yeah, I was very, very disappointed at 2-0 down. And then something really weird happened. And I know that we spoke about this earlier on, but Sean Dyche decided he was going to take off Ndai, and Iriola was going to make some quite, substantial substitutions. And that combination, that perfect storm, just led to what was going to happen from the 88th minute onwards. Of course, Ndai had only been off the pitch, I think it was 5 minutes before until we scored our first goal, and then it just got better and better from there. So would I say that it was all Bournemouth? Um, I would say that we was very, very good for that short period of time. However, I think Sean Dyche, you know, reflecting back on it, gave us a bit of a helping hand, which is not what an opposition manager should be doing.
No, he really did wind me up that he took Njai off, and Njai wasn't happy to come off, and I felt like it played
Don't
into your.
blame him.
He was the only threat that was making your team sit back, and once we took him off, we had nothing attacking, and you completely did us. I mean, the Newcastle game, we had one against Newcastle where they come back in extra time. That haunted me, but this was just something else, and you wouldn't believe it was even possible in football that at 88 minutes you'd be 2-0 up and you could actually lose. It's just shameful. I can't believe it happened. I really can't. But we move on. And this is where we come up against you again.
Yes.
And it could be revenge, or it could be a game where we are just cursed against Bournemouth now and it happens again. But I'd like to think that it's going to be revenge. But I am going to chuck on the screen your form first. I mean, if you look there, orange is draws, green is wins. I've just typed it up.
Yeah.
And red losses. And I've got to say, great, when I was typing this up, well done. Impressed. Like, really, really impressed. I mean, I want to beat you this game, but that's some form that you put together there. And 7th in the table, and you can see why.
I think it also, doesn't say its own story, because there's certain games like that Ipswich game. We was 1-0 down again until late in that game, and we turned it around and beat them 2-1. Also, the Fulham game most recently, we got a late equaliser from Dongo Watara. So we are capable of doing that. Even West Ham, we were the dominant team against West Ham. However, again, it was a late goal. So we have got that in our locker, to be fair. You know, I've said throughout this season, I wish we didn't do it that way. I wish that we took control of games, like that, and rather than coming back. But hey, it's been very, very entertaining, to be fair. Our form, though, recently has been excellent. That Manchester United win, will probably jump out at everybody. And everybody probably go, well, beat Man United 3-0. To be honest, Man United were not very good that day. They were very, very poor. To be honest, they've been poor all season. And I would say out of all those wins, of course, you have the Man City win there. It was actually 2-1 to Bournemouth that game. We defended very, very resiliently at the end. Erling Haaland had a good opportunity to equalise in that game, and we just held firm. We held firm. We were strong. We knew where our positions were. So that was a very good result. That Tottenham result as well. We were probably a lot more dominant than they were. Okay, 1-0. You might think, well, I'd be a bit disappointed about that, but also they had some real good opportunities at the end, and we know how to close games out. It seems we know how to close games out, but also we know how to come back in games. We're an interesting side to watch, for a neutral, I'm guessing, this season, and it's just a joy to behold. The two red ones there, Brighton. Brighton come here. Fabian Hertzler did a job on us. Got to be honest. He studied Areola inside out. It was well clear that. And Brentford, I don't understand Brentford. It's a little bit like what we were saying earlier on, Dan. You coming down here, it's a bit of a bogey ground for Everton. Brentford's just a bogey team for us completely. It doesn't matter what sort of form they're in. They seem to get the better over us.
Yeah, well, they're not bad at home. They've done it with Manchester United a lot, haven't they? As well,
Yeah.
they are a decent team at home, but you've not even had a spanking there from anyone. You've had there's no spanking. You've kept all the scores are close. Even your losses, you look in there, you've got one goal in your losses, and the Greens have been sensational. I think you've been smashed. It you really have. I mean, I don't know whether it was us that gave you that spark to crack on, and we gave you the recipe to go on and have a good season, but you definitely have since you beat us. And fair play. But I'm looking at that, and it's a win 4 wins, a draw, a win, a draw, a draw. You're unbeaten in too many games there, and Everton need to stop this. When we play teams that are weaker and we should win, we do crap. When a team sometimes has a record to be broken, we can stop them. I remember coming up against Brentford when there was unbeaten in 10, 11 games, and we beat them. So sometimes we can put these little runs, because I'm pretty sure you'll be thinking to yourself, we all do. I bet you're thinking we're unbeaten in so many, and that's a really good bit of form you're ongoing that you've got ongoing there. Sorry.
Yeah, I think, the Palace game was always going to be difficult because we needed to rotate players. The one thing that does concern me going into this match, and why I think we have to be fearful of Everton, we have to make sure that we respect Everton, is that we have got so many injuries at the moment. If you had a look at our bench against Fulham, we had 4 youngsters on the bench, and it's disrespectful for me to turn around and say that they shouldn't be there, because they most definitely should be. But I think that when you're in a position where you're fighting to potentially get European football for the first time, the injuries are going to take their toll. It's going to be a bit more difficult, and I'm just hoping that there's going to be reinforcements. If these players aren't going to come back in any time soon. But it's a great challenge to have. It's a great challenge to have. But this game does kind of concern me in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, and exactly what you said there, Everton are very, very capable of upsetting a team when they are on a good run. And do keep in mind, we are a bit of a bogey team for Everton, especially at Dean Court. Especially at Dean Court, not so much at Goodison. Of course, the last 2 times before that 3-2 win, you beat us at Goodison that last game of the season, and then that 3-0 hammering last term. So, yeah, I think it does concern me, because there is that record to be broken. Sean Dyche will be reminding the players of that. And, looking at that form will come to an end at some point. And Sean Dyche will be determined to make sure it's this weekend. Hopefully for us, it's not.
No, I like that you're not being overexcited about it. You've downplayed a couple of those games. You said, well, we've been a bit lucky. You're not getting too excited. You said, we're lucky here. We've got a bit of a result here. We are playing well, but you're not letting yourself get too high, and you're keeping yourself grounded. Paul's a regular Everton fan on the channel, says, so I have history with Bournemouth, 8th of May 2010. We played Chesterfield. I worked for the club. They was a part of the last ever game. And so, did you read this comment coming up now to you? And then he went on to say, cracking club who fought to survive, and they shot up the league from there.
And actually, it's quite nice that that comment's come up, because that game, of course, Steve Fletcher, who I know very, very well, and he's been on the channel as well. Of course, he got a resounding reception at Saltergate for that last game, because he's a legend at this football club. Without Steve Fletcher, we would be in the non-league. We would be in the non-league. He was the one that scored that goal against Grimsby back in 2008. He scored a cracking goal against them. Sorry, 2009 it was, because of course it was 2008, 2009 season, and they gave him a tremendous reception, because of course he did play there. I think it was just the one season. I might be incorrect in that. I'd have to. He does mention it on the interview that I did with him, and yeah, it was. Yeah, he got a resounding reception. So yeah, I remember that game.
There we go. And Paul
Yeah,
says, "I love
there
that.
we are.
I love that, man." And Emma then goes on to say, "Dan, can you not put our form up on the screen?" Well, Emma, I've written it, and it took me ages, so I've got to, right? So that was Bournemouth's form. Mighty green, a lot of green, which means wins. And the reason that a lot of Everton fans probably aren't happy, Yes, we aren't getting beat, but there's not a lot of green there. There's a lot of orange. Orange means draw, red means loss, and green means win. And this is the problem with a lot of Everton fans. We're saying that you're not going to stay up on draws. And yes, it's good to not get beat, but unfortunately, you only get 1 point for a draw. And you're not going to get that many points this season building 1 point. So we do need to start winning games. And we're defending well. We are getting draws. We're not getting beat. We have played Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal in our last 4 games. So I'm not going to dismiss that because they are top teams that when we played them needed to beat us to win the league. But what are you thinking on this, Craig? It's not the best form, is it?
Well,
it's not that bad. Are you going to put a positive on it for me?
I'm going to try and put a positive. Of course, those most recent draws. Let's put Forest to one side for a moment. Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, very, very good. Results against those teams. Like going back, to last season, we could have only dreamed of those sort of results against those 3 teams. Of course, we got a draw against Chelsea. We was beaten by them this season, and we've beaten Man City and Arsenal.
But he's Bournemouth, and he's like, "We've beaten Man City, we've beat Arsenal." I'm thinking the draw's okay.
To be honest, it was the first ever time that we've beaten Man City. So, to be honest, I remember back in Division 2, it was 1999. Man City were down to 9 men, and we still couldn't beat them then. So we were due to hand them a bit of a spanking, to be honest. But I think the concern there is, as we were saying earlier on, you're not conceding many goals. Again, if you look at how many Man City have conceded, they've conceded more than Everton have. There was, of course, a lot of goals conceded in those first 4 games that you lost. So to be honest, conceding wise, it's not been bad. But of course, that emphasis, like you were saying, in that midfield and them supporting the defence has meant that it's been a little bit. It's been null and void really up the other end, hasn't it? Really, it's been really tough.
It does seem like you hit the nail on the head, and it's good what you're saying because it's bringing thoughts out of my head, and it does make me think after Bournemouth went and scored 3 against us, and then the next game we did the same. We went 2-0 up against Aston Villa the next game, but this was in 30 minutes. We was 2-0 up against Aston Villa, and we lost 3-2 again. Duran come on and scored, and we lost 3-2 again. So it was 2 games in a row that we played where we was 2-0 up, and we let the opposition score 3 goals to beat us. So I feel after that game, for me, that was the game where Sean Dyche says, "I'm not going to let teams score against us," and went completely defensive, too defensive, in my opinion. I get that he had to stop it, and I'm happy he did stop it because you shouldn't be letting a team score 3 goals like we did Bournemouth and Aston Villa in that space of time. But I do think that he's gone too defensive because there's not much attack for us now.
The big concern as well, I've just, been counting there's 7 games there where Everton have not scored a goal in 10. And that's a massive concern. Okay, the 4-0 against Wolves, take that aside. Of course, that was under Gary O'Neill, of course, our former manager. I think that I'm going to say something really nasty now about Wolves here. And, hey, if they're watching, they're watching. But I think that the Wolves players went and tried to get Gary sacked in those last couple of games. So I think you got to take that with a little bit of pinch of salt. There's things to be concerned about with that type of form at the moment. That Forest result as well. Okay, Forest are doing well, but you would have expected a little bit more of fight be put up. I did see the highlights of that, and a little bit more of a fight should have been put up by Everton. But, I think the team have got it in them. I think they've got it in them, as we saw earlier on in the season, to get results out. It's not a bad squad.
I've seen this in the press, Craig, and I'll keep trying to get the comments on as we go. But Emma says Dyche basically did a Reddit in the press saying about not getting attacking coaches in because he feels you don't need it because he spoke to some top strikers and it's something that you should just sniff and you don't need coaching in. And he said you should be able to smell the goals. And he come out with this in the press and he was just saying strikers should just have that instinct. You've either got it or you're not.
I
But the
didn't
big
even
thing
know
for
he'd
me
come
is
out
that
with that. That's
he said it in
ridiculous.
the press. Yeah,
That's
that's what he
ridiculous.
said in the press, and he's ruffling our feathers a little bit because scoring goals isn't just about strikers smelling it, or it's not just on the strikers. The problem
No.
for us at the minute is the strikers are not getting much service, and Dyche's tactics are not giving the strikers many opportunities to score or good opportunities. A lot of the balls are long balls, wide balls, hopeless balls, and our strikers, a lot of the time, we feel sorry for them. We do because the service they are getting is really poor. And what you've got, I don't think you can completely blame a striker unless he's
No.
missed loads of chances. But I don't think the strikers have been missing loads of chances. I don't think they've been given a lot of chances, in my opinion.
What are they doing? From on the Monday to the Friday, what are they doing to prepare for these games? To give you a comparison of what's happening at Bournemouth, is that we've got Sean Cooper, who is in charge really of our set pieces. Now, Sean Cooper, I think it's fair to say, won't ring many bells with many people. He wasn't the greatest of players, but he's a very good coach, and he's very, very analytical at picking out, right, okay, what we should do at certain points. This is where players should stand. This is where, and a lot of these set piece plays have come off this season. And we've earned points out of that. For example, the second Arsenal goal, we scored against them. That was a Sean Cooper masterclass. You look at, for example, the Spurs goal. I'm sure that Dean Howson was actually told to stand in that position and back off, from the back post by Sean Cooper. And that's the sort of thing that Everton need. I do question whether or not that sort of thing is happening. They don't have to be great players. What they need to be is great coaches and people that know. And to be honest, there's plenty out there. There is plenty of coaches out there. In fact, I even spoke to an Everton legend in Paul Rideout, who is working wonders in the US, and he's coaching kids and, getting the best from them. And it's very, very interesting what he said. Why don't somebody get on the phone to Paul and say, we've got a problem with our players scoring goals here. You're an Everton legend. Come over, try and get these players putting it in the back of the net because they're more than capable of. You can't tell me that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has become a bad player overnight. Beto hasn't become a bad player overnight. And the more I think about it, and it was interesting off the back of our conversation earlier on, the more the finger has to be pointed at Sean Dyche. He's a very clever man at making it sound like it isn't his fault, Sean Dyche. I think it probably is.
I'm glad you say that because I think a lot of Everton fans feel that way. And this is an opposition fan that we've got on, a Bournemouth fan that's not even coming from the outside and saying this, and it's nice to hear because I feel the same. He often just twists, and I feel that he's stuck in his ways. That's one thing I will say is
Yeah.
he's not open to be a good manager. He will be what he is, and he wants to do it his way, and that's it. And he's not open to learning and changing his Burnley ways and adding to his. Because I do feel that Sean Dyche has some good attributes, not a lot, but I do feel he has some good, by the way. And I will point this out because I think when under Lampard, I think Lampard was soft and he was more of a player. I really liked him, but he wasn't strict enough, or he didn't have the players under control for me. Sean Dyche come in and he has got the players under control and he's got the mentality that you need to work hard. So all of our players do work hard for Sean Dyche because he is strict like that, and they have got that scared of you. You'll give me a bollock, and if you don't factor. So I like that because we always say we want the players working for us, and Sean Dyche does get the players working for us. But his tactics just ain't that good. That's the problem. It's all right working for you so much, but your tactics have got to be better. They are important.
Do you know what? I did have to just laugh at one of the comments that has come through from Emma. And she must have seen the interview that I did a while back. I interviewed David Icke on my show, and she's asked, "Is Daisha reptilian, Craig?"
Shit. She must have watched it and remembered. You've got to come out of a cracker there.
Yeah. Is he a reptilian? Well, he's very much stuck in his way, so maybe he is. You never know. You never know, Emma.
God, let's keep coming in. When Calvert-Lewin leaves, it will be better. Some people ain't happy with Calvert-Lewin. He ain't signing the contract. There are talks that he could leave in January. His contract's up at the end of this season. He's not signing it. Sean Dyche didn't say he won't leave. He said if offers coming in the press, that they've got to look at him. So that makes you up and thingy with him, doesn't it? Because you can't get behind someone that you feel like doesn't even want to be at your club. So that's where we're at with Calvert-Lewin. And it's quite frustrating with him. Personally, if he doesn't want to sign the contract and we've offered him a contract and he's not committed to play for Everton, I wouldn't be choosing him over other strikers. And I know that's probably stupid, but I just probably wouldn't. I'd be giving other ones a chance.
I tell you what, though, Dan, it's crazy because, of course, we spoke earlier on as well about Anthony Gordon and that situation, and of course Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he is, wanting to try and force through a move away from Everton, Everton are a great club, a historical club in this country. It's got to be so badly mismanaged behind the scenes for players to feel like that. Because let's take, for example, a club like Bournemouth or Brentford or, Brighton. Three clubs done very, very well to get here, but not traditional clubs. Now, if you are somebody who is completely neutral, not somebody like me, but if you are somebody neutral, do you want to go to Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, or Everton? I would say, 80, 90% of people would turn around and say, yeah, get me to Goodison Park or get me to Bramley Moor Dock. I want to go to Everton because it's the history. So something's not right behind the scenes. And I think, that's what the Freaking Group need to do, is they need to get to grips with that straight away. The first time they walk through that door, they need to change that whole philosophy of what is a great club.
No, I completely agree with you, and this is what I've been saying as well on X tweets and stuff like that. I've been saying that the bar has become so low with Everton. The bar is that low that the players feel like they're bigger than the club. And that can't happen. The players can't be bigger than the club. The Freaking Group need to come in now, and what they need to do is I'm not saying I want this manager, but when they got Carlo Ancelotti, straight away that made a statement that we want Champions League. Straight away, Carlo Ancelotti. You don't think of Carlo Ancelotti as a relegation manager.
No.
It was that Carlo Ancelotti has come in to push us back to top 6 or top 4. And it was a big statement manager getting Carlo, because straight away your bar went from this to that, and that's the bar you pushed to then. And I do believe that when we get a new manager this time, he's got to have a higher bar. I don't want him to be talking about us in relegations or this, that, and the other. I want him to have a bar that he's going to get us to that and keep driving us towards that. That is what I'm hoping that happens when these come in. And then players like Calvert-Lewin or any other player that thinks that they're bigger than the club, I don't think it'll happen. Because I think if your club's run right and you know this club's going in a good direction, these players ain't going to want to jump off that train. They ain't. And they're going to feel lucky to be on that train. The problem is that we've let our standard dip so much that it doesn't matter about history to some of these young people, does it? And we are what we are now. And that's the problem. We are what we are now. And we need to get someone to come in that's got a plan that we're going to be there, some people to want to be part of that plan, to believe in it and think, yes, let's do it. And that's how we've got to build ourselves back up, I feel.
See, this football club, weren't a well-run football club years ago. Jeff Mostyn had to put money in out of his own pocket to keep this football club alive. Going back years and years ago to that -17 season, he was advised that he should run as far away as possible from Bournemouth and never look back at the place. But he put the money in. Um, we're thankful to him for that. And what we've got off the back of that, and Bill Foley, and we've got to mention Maxim Denham, and of course, sadly, he's passed away, Eddie Mitchell, before him, is a succession of great owners that stabilized this football club, that made it something that players don't want to jump off, like you say, Dan, the ship that is going in the right direction, going full steam ahead. Yeah, I think Milos Kerkez is mentioned, and they say that he's wanted by the side across the park. I'm not going to mention their name out of respect, but he's wanted by them for as a left back, and it's very possible that he could go there. But I can't imagine that there'll be many players that will be going, right, okay, Tottenham want me. I think I should go there. It's because the players have signed into the Iriola philosophy, the Bill Foley philosophy. There's something happening here. There's the new training grounds. We're going to set up a new academy. It's going to be going places, and of course, eventually the new stadium, which is probably down the priorities. Making sure that the players are happy with bringing through great players long term is the number one priority. It's well-run club now. It's a well-run club, but it never always used to be like that, Dan. It used to be a bit of a basket case, this football club.
Well, it's the same. I mean, in the comments there, keep your comments flooding in, people. How many modern players care about history? Otherwise, teams like Brighton, no offense to Brighton, by the way, they wouldn't attract talent. And like you've just mentioned there, Brighton, they have good academy system. Good, they're bringing in good players. I think people can see that Brighton are being run really well, and they have brought in some good players and have given themselves a big name now. But that is just because Brighton have got a good plan. They knew they had a budget. And I think every player that Brighton tried to sign, they've said, right, we're spending this. We're bringing in all these big players. Do you want to be part of this journey? And yes, of course you would, because you see the players that they've got and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to be playing with really good players. And it's nothing, isn't it? That is just about that plan that Brighton made, not about the history of Brighton or anything like that. So I think if your football club do put into place a good plan, it can also help to sign players and get players in. But Everton, like the Pauls has said, the problem is we haven't had a plan. We haven't.
No.
And we haven't even known who our owners are going to be or anything. Everything's been up in the air. So, of course, it was going to be hard to get players when you don't even know who your owner's going to be. You're bored of getting sacked. You're in relegation battles and stuff like that. It's been hard for us. But I'd like to think now the freaking group can come in fresh with a plan and say, this is what's going to be, and what was is going to be finished. We're going to put that to bed and make Everton back to where they should be. Right, so let's get on the screen. People in the comments, if you can get involved, I know it's a bit of a headache sometimes because it's a lot of typing, but if you could give us the lineup that you want. If we have Bournemouth fans on, show us your lineup. Everton fans, give us your lineup that you want, and I'll chuck them on the screen after me and Craig have done our lineup. So I should have Craig's lineup here, all being well, already typed up, because I do try and be Mr. Prepared. I mean, I might have been late, but let's get this right at least. Here we go. Blame it on the dart. So this is your lineup, people.
Yes.
You might have to zoom in to see it. Make the screen bigger. There we go. This is what you think it will be, Craig?
Yeah, I think based on the injuries, I think this is what we'd go for. I think Semenyo ideally needs a rest. I think he probably is struggling a little bit. He's got a couple of. I think he's probably feeling something, as feeling some muscles. But what other options have we got? Like I say, our young bench the other day. That's no disrespect to them, but are they ready to just jump straight into a game which could be quite physical with Dyche? I don't think they would be. So I've played it sensibly here. It's a very similar side to the one that faced Fulham with a couple of changes. The most notable changes, of course, is Clivert coming into this squad, and also me taking out Brooks as well. So yeah, I think that's the big change for me. Kepa Azpilicueta, I would actually pick, if it was down to me, I would pick in goal Mark Travers, but I think Chelsea have got a little bit of a noose around our neck on this. That I think that we have to play Kepa. I think we have to play Kepa. I think it's um, part of the loan deal. But also, I think it's something that maybe Iriola, of course, Travers doesn't play out from the back as well as Kepa does. Kepa does have his moments. I don't think his positioning's that great. Whereas I think Travers is a little bit better in that position, but he's quite good with his feet, Kepa. So I think that's why, maybe Iriola's gone down that route if it's not Chelsea, dictating that he has to play so many minutes. Of course, going from left back, Milos Kerkez, absolute shoe-in. Zabania and Dean Howson, I think those two, again, are definite shoe-ins for this game. Marcus Senesi, who you'll probably remember from earlier on in the season, he was playing over Howson for the majority of this season so far, but he is injured. Howson wasn't very happy, mainly because he wanted more game time. He signed from Juventus, so he wasn't particularly very happy, according to the press, and was wanting to move away. I can't see how he can be dropped now when Senesi is even fit. He's done so well. James Hill on the right is a bit of an interesting one. He's predominantly a centre back, but he's a very, very good player. And again, he played very well against Fulham, and you can't drop him. Max Aarons is traditionally a right back, but for some reason Iriola doesn't like him. He doesn't fancy him. Adam Smith is out, as is Julian Arejo, our Mexican right back, who I think is probably a different option. He's very, very quick. I was impressed by James Hill, so that's why I've put him there. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does go with Aaron's. Then as the defenders, defensive midfielders, I've gone with Lewis Cook, very, very solid in that position. Will probably drop a little bit deeper than Ryan Christie will. We'll probably give a little bit more cover to Zabani and House, and Christie will probably try and move the ball forwards a lot more. Over wing, Dongo Watara, a very, very good player. He's a weird one. He's a weird one, but I really like him. Always plays with a smile on his face. Really nice guy as well. Um, he'll do 9 things, and you'll think, what the hell is he actually trying to do there? His crossing isn't particularly always that great, but he'll do one thing that will result in a goal, and is quite sublime. He's a weird player, but I absolutely love him to bits. So I think he's brilliant for that. Semenyo, right hand side again. I don't think we can really afford to drop him at the moment. Justin Kluivert through the centre of midfield. He's back from suspension, so that's good. He was rested, of course, for the Fulham game due to that suspension. And then we've got Evan Nielsen up front, who, yeah, isn't prolific in front of goal. Had a bit of a slow start to get on the score sheet, but he's managed to find that now. But it's also like Solanke, what he does off the ball. He's an issue. He's an issue for any defender because he's strong, he's skillful, he'll cut inside, he'll make things awkward for them. Um, he's a player that, as Wolves found, you know, to their detriment, they normally end up having to bring him down to stop him. So yeah, he's a very, very talented player. But on the bench, I haven't a clue. I think David Brooks will go back to the bench. No disrespect to David Brooks. I think he's a great player. But I just feel that maybe he'll be rested. He's still I think he's getting there, but he's still kind of recovering from, of course, his Hodgkin lymphoma quite a few years ago. So it's probably just building him up bit by bit by bit by bit, but he's almost there, which is good. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very youthful bench again. But hopefully, fingers crossed, that's a solid starting 11. Of course, Philip Billing as well, who did start against Fulham. I've dropped him out of the side as well. I think between Clivert and Billing, you have to go with Clivert every day.
I mean, the player when I've watched your games, a player that I've always said is your main player for me is Semenyo. I think he's fantastic. I think he was good when he played against us, but I've watched him good against loads of teams. He gets shots on target, he runs at players, he's fast, and he's very dangerous for me. He's a player that we're going to have to watch out for. What would you say is? Give me a strength. So, what would you say it would be your strength that would be against us, where you play where you think is going to be hurt us, and give us a player that you would say that you're worried about.
I would say Semenyo, providing he is fit, providing he is okay, is the real danger. I think he will be awkward on that side for Everton, and I think, he'll be a real threat. When he first joined us, in fact, and I spoke to Mark McAdam, he was a player that I wasn't really that excited about, because watching him, and of course Bristol's only up the road from us here, but watching him play for Bristol City, he blew hot and cold all the time. He'd have a really good game, then he'd be really weak, then it'd be. That hasn't happened here. Iriola has improved him. He's really brought him on. So I would go with Semenyo, but Justin Kluivert's also going to be very, very dangerous as well. Our weakness, I've got to be honest, I don't think we've got many.
I like it. Give me a weakness. We ain't got one. He's going in big.
We haven't really got one. I'm not overly keen on Kepa. I've got to be honest, I prefer Mark Travers because of his positioning. When the ball's coming into the box, I think Travers' positioning is better, but I think Iriola prefers the style of having Kepa on to bring the ball out from the back. To go for a weakness, I'd have to probably pick James Hill. James Hill.
It's worrying Everton fans because we've had a lot of opposition fans on before we play them.
Yeah.
And when I said, what player do you feel is weak? They've always gave me one. But Craig is saying no.
I would say
weak in any sort of area. We're going to smash you. That's what he's coming at me with.
The only player I would say is James Hill because he is, fresh into the side. But he had a fantastic game.
There you go.
Yeah,
you didn't say he was shy, but that's what someone's coming on now.
I think there's reasons why that might have come up.
Yeah. So there's one. I'll give you 1 week once. One of the Everton fans in the comments says, Kepa is shy. No, but you do look pretty strong. And the thing is, you play in the same team quite regularly. I think you're gelling together nice. Mm-hmm. New manager seems to be doing well. You see, listen to you there. You sound happy with the new manager. So, it's good times to be a Bournemouth fan, and I think you've got to enjoy it this season. You're 7th in the table. You've got that record that I put on the screen earlier on of unbeaten in how many, and a lot of wins on the board. So, you never know if these runs are going to stay, and I'm not saying it's not, by the way, but you do have to enjoy these highs, don't you? And you're having a cracking season.
Mate, honestly, I can't wait to go to the capital city of Moldova. Get me there. Get me there tomorrow. Get me there tomorrow. I don't know what it's called. I don't know where it is, but yeah, I'm on the plane.
He's on cloud nine. Craig is on cloud nine. That is what Bournemouth are doing to him. So, right, let's get the Everton, my lineup. I'm going to put it on the screen now, people. I've already done it for you. Well, not done it for you, done it for me. I'm not going to do it live on the show. I've already written it up. And then I'm going to put your lineups on the screen and we'll finish with score predictions. Do get involved. This is a good bit of fun. We all like to do a lineup prediction and we all definitely like to do a score prediction. So let's see what I've got here. I've changed it a little bit. Normally I go with what Sean Dyche is going to do because then you can actually talk about what's actually going to happen. Because if I do my lineup, sometimes, Craig, I put it up there and I feel like, what's even the point on talking about this? Because Sean Dyche isn't going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. He's done my head in a little bit last game. So I'm going to be the manager. I'm going to take control. I'm going to show Sean Dyche what he needs to do, in my opinion. So I've not gone for what everyone should go for. I've gone for my own lineup here, people. And I am massively thinking, because Sean Dyche has completely never played Jake O'Brien, I'm massively thinking of going 3 at the back and wing backs in the future. I really am. Just putting that in your heads, people. I think Jake O'Brien, Tarkowski and Branthwaite and playing with 2 strikers like Brozier and Schmiti would be very good for Everton going forward because we could play with 2 strikers then. And I'd love to see O'Brien given a chance when Sean Dyche gets the sack. Sorry, Sean Dyche, but I'm not happy at the minute. You've got to earn my love back. And that Nottingham Forest game is still haunting me. We didn't even attack much. But yeah, so what we normally do is this is what probably would happen. It would be Ashley Young right back. It would be Mikolenko left back. And it would be Decore in Brozier's position, Calvert-Lewin up top, Lindstrom on the right, and Jai on the left. So our team normally would be Pickford in goals, Mikolenko left back, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Ashley Young right back, Goner, Mangala, Corey in the 10, and Jai on the left. Jack Harrison would be the guy on the right because of his defensive work, because Sean Dyche thinks about defending more than attacking. And we'd end up with Calvert-Lewin up top. Dan, the new manager, Everton manager, I've taken over. And I'm thinking, you know what? Mikolenko hasn't been good enough, so I'm going to move Ashley Young to left back. Patterson come on for the last 10 minutes and look decent, and Everton fans want to see a right back get forward with a bit of speed. So let's give Patterson a chance on the right-hand side. So that's different, but that's what I'm going to do. Tarkowski and Branthwaite we're happy with. The centre of midfield, Garner, Gay and Mangala we're really happy with. Mangala's been a cracking loan. I don't know how we did that. Texter probably thought he was going to own us and got him in. But it didn't happen, but we gained from that. So Mangala and Garner Gay. Decore, I don't mind him, but he wasn't good last game. And I feel like we need to go out and win this game against you. If we are to stay up, we've got to go for these games. So I'm going attacking with 2 strikers. And I'm going to play Broya behind the striker because he kept dropping back last game and trying to get the ball. So I feel he could play the 10 that Decore is playing and be a lot more dangerous on the edge of the box. I've gone for Beto up front. I wanted Schmiti there, but I don't think Dyche would play Schmiti. And Jai on the left and Lindstrom on the right. I've gone very, very attacking there. What is your thoughts on my lineup, Craig? I'm going to have a look at the comments now. I'm going to get ripped in now.
I've got to be honest. It looks more of what Sean Dyche should be doing rather than what Sean Dyche is actually doing. He's an attacking lineup. Ndai was the thorn in our side for 88 minutes. 88 minutes, which Everton were ahead 2-0 in that game, going back to August. I think it's a solid, real threatening lineup moving forwards. I think defensively it looks good. And like you say, you need to win games. You need to turn this around because you've got the players. Looking at that, you have got the players that are more than capable of pushing their way up this division.
That's what I'm saying, Craig. People say,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, we've got crap players, and it's not Sean Dyche's fault." And Sean Dyche is playing around with crap, and he's doing a miracle. But I think to myself, like, he's playing Decore in that 10, and it's making us super defensive, and we're not capitalising on having like 2 strikers, and we could be better. He's playing Jack Harrison over Lindstrom because he wants Jack Harrison to defend. He can defend better than Lindstrom, but why not just say, let's take it to a team? And I honestly do feel with what you said about your keeper passing out from the back as well. If we press with that, and Giant Lindstrom, if they've got Brozier and Beto in the box, that could be really, really dangerous. Mangala and Garner can handle themselves in the centre. I'd love to see, in your ideal world here, you'd love to see Patterson, Ashley Young get forward, and then that entices Njai and Lindstrom to cut into the middle as well, and that can be even more dangerous, creating that triangle or pyramid there with the Brozier, Beto, Njai and Lindstrom, with Patterson and Young getting forward. There's a lot of good to think that you could get out of that tactically. But as it says in the comments, I really like this, but I don't think Sean Dyche would do it, and this is my problem. Why can't we be good? Why can't we attack teams?
Yeah, this is what the stats are even saying. Okay, yes, you haven't conceded as many goals as Manchester City, but you look at how many goals are being scored up the other end.
Happy New Year, everyone.
There has to be a turnaround, Dan. There has to be a turnaround. It's got to get to a point where, Sean Dyche will be having to take these risks because he will be at risk of losing his job. I can't see him. I honestly, 100% can't see him opening that fantastic new stadium that you've got opening next season. Can't see him opening up there. But I think that he has to make some changes now to make sure that Everton, which the players are more than capable of, pull away from the danger zone.
Yeah, you've got to win games, and we've got to take it because
Yeah.
at the end, the problem is, right, if we don't go out to win games now, it'll get to the point where we need to win games. And I think do it now while you've got a bit of points to play with. Because if you don't, it'll come towards the end of the season, and if you don't get those 3 points, you get relegated. So I honestly do think at this time of the year, it doesn't decide whether you stay up or go down. You've still got a bit of play. So let's just go for it. That's what you're doing. That's what Nottingham Forest are doing.
Yeah.
They're just enjoying themselves, going for it in games and saying, right, let's try and win. Draws will not keep you up. Go out the next 3 games and take it to teams and try and win. Because if you win 1, you get 3 points. That's what we get if we draw on all 3, which is how Sean Dyche goes out to me. Pablo on the Everton fan advisory board is saying, Dan is one of the most optimistic Everton fans. I am, but I've had enough, Pablo. We need to sort ourselves out this game. They've got to give me something to be optimistic about. This is how bad it is being an Everton fan, right? When I do this channel and I set them up, I look to put a picture of an Everton player on the cover with the opposition. So I found the Bournemouth one, loads of Bournemouth players celebrating when you score. And then I'm trying to find an Everton player when we score. And there's not many pictures of Everton players celebrating scoring for me to find a picture, because that's a sign that we're not scoring many goals. So we need more pictures of Everton players happy, celebrating, scoring. And I know it's stupid to say that, but that shows that there is a problem because we're not scoring enough goals, as Craig said as well. You said it straight away. You're not scoring enough, so we do need to start going for it. And Sean Dyche's first thing is defend, and if we can nick a goal, we'll nick a goal. But that is danger for me. That is big alarm bells. I'm gonna have a look to see what lineups we've got. People have got the lineups in. Let's have a look. Cracking, loads of comments coming in, by the way. I'm scrolling through to get to, what would you say, looking at this, is a weakness, and what would you say you're scared of? That's what we normally ask on the channel.
Well, and run us ragged up at Goodison. So he would be he's a quality player. He would be the man that I would probably single out, as the danger man. Also, he'll be coming up against James Hill. Now, that would be, based on my prediction of predicted lineup. That would be a real test for James Hill. I think that James Hill's a great player, and I think he's got a great future in the game. This would be a test for him, and to be honest, I think put him to the test, because I think I think he could certainly swim. So I think that's the biggest danger. Weakness, I would say again, it is going to be breaking through our back line. Once and dies, made some opportunities. You know, is it going to really be that easy for Beto to, get in around Dean Howson, of course, Barnier, especially when, you know, let's be honest, Dan, I can't see Sean Dyche playing this squad. I think he'll play
No,
a
he
very
isn't. No.
negative squad, mate.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that will play straight into our hands. Um, yeah, you might get a draw, and I predict that it'll be a 1-1 draw, but at the end of the day, it'll be a 1-1 draw because you've defended for your lives and you've put 7-8 men behind the ball, which you shouldn't be doing. You've got players that are capable of hurting a team like ourselves. um yeah, I can understand why it's so concerning for Everton fans at this moment in time. You shouldn't be in this situation.
I think it's a perfect example tonight, and it makes me realise because I've gone and put that team out, and straight away, Sean Dyche isn't going to do it. And like you just said,
Mm.
Being a Bournemouth fan, you're saying that isn't going to be what you do. You're going to sit back, defend for your lives. And we've got players there that I put on the screen where I feel like if we went out with that, your Bournemouth players might think, we've got our hands full here. Broya in the number 10, behind the
Yeah,
striker. Beto, freaking, he really does get stuck in Beto as well. So your centre-backs will get smashed up there. And then a winger's getting Giant Lindstrom pushing forward. With the reason I've gone for Patterson is because I don't want Lindstrom tracking back all the time. I want us to attack. And that Dash would play Harrison because he's thinking more about helping the right back out. Where I'm saying Patterson, Young, get forward and let Brantwaite be one of the best centre backs around. Let him show that. I mean, some people say if we did this and went for it, we'd get beat 3-4-0. I
the
think
only
Brantwaite needs that challenge where we go for it because I feel that
yeah,
will make the game step up even more. Don't go safe. The good thing about having, when you watch all the best teams, the good thing about having really good centre backs is that they can handle themselves one on one. So, say we push up and you attack, Brantwaite should be able to handle the one on one runs on the counter attack because he's got that speed. He normally could last season. I want to see us just go for it because if we don't and we play for that draw, you're not staying up on 1 points, draws. We've got to go for these games. You have. Bournemouth have gone for the games and you've ended up beating Manchester City. You've ended up beating Arsenal. And if you didn't go for those games and you respected those teams and sat back, you wouldn't have got all those points that you've got. And a
yeah,
lot of people probably would have looked at Bournemouth and said, you shouldn't go out to beat Arsenal. You shouldn't go out to beat Man City. But you did. And you beat them. And that's the difference sometimes. Just that bravery to play a lineup like I've got there can get you 3 points. And then you could end up playing it again and you could crack on and have a cracking season. You're 7th. Nottingham Forest are where in the league now? They're smashing it.
yeah.
Teams have got to take a risk, I think, personally.
I think he'll have to because if this continues with the new owners, they can't keep him in the job if he's just
No,
going to
they've
keep
got.
draw. Because as we were saying, you could have 3 draws. Effectively, you might as well lose 2 games and win 1.
Yeah, I'll say that. You
Yeah,
could just not. You could win one, not turn up the other 2, and get the same as hard-fought 3 draws. You've got to try and win, and it just makes your job easier. And then all of a sudden, if you go out to win the first, you just think, oh, you nick a second, you could end up on 6 points, and that's beating your hard-fought 3 draws. I'm going to chuck up a couple of the lineups on the screen. Thanks everyone for engaging in it. It's cracking. If you can, I don't say it, and I should say it at the start. If you can hit that like and subscribe when we come off, we do look to see whether the show's been successful. If it's got plenty of likes on it and got plenty of views, we say, oh, that's good. We're going the right direction. It was worth doing. So if you can support us, because you do listen to us, we know you do. If you can hit that like and subscribe, do get behind us. So the Blues has gone for the Blues is proper serious as well. He knows his 40. He's gone for a 3-4-2-1, and he's gone for Oates. I like it, the Blues. And I'm crying out for this. O'Brien, who we've signed, and he was sensational for Leon and got them up the table. And Sean Dyche has just don't want to use him because he's not got Prem experience. O'Brien, Tarkowski, and Branthwaite. I think if you played those O'Brien and Branthwaite each side of Tarkowski, they've got the speed. I believe that would be solid. Patterson one side, Garnagay and Mangala in the middle, Young left wing back, Lindstrom, and then Jai in the number 10 and DCL up top. That's not a bad team either, is it, Craig? And I've been crying out for that sort of team.
No,
I
I
like it.
I think again a very, very solid team that you've put out there. It shows that how much quality you have got. But Sean Dyche is just going with this defensive motion. He's going with this defensive, and that's not gonna win him any plaudits. Um, it might just, well, it might take him to fighting for his job to actually make these changes. And I'm sure the Freaking group aren't going to stand for that. They're not going to stand for continuously drawing every single game.
But the pause, the Blues has put his line up there.
Mm,
And the pause has thought the same as well. I do think we need to change something. The thing is, if you do go the three centre backs, because we all rate O'Brien and want to see him, if you
yeah,
do go the three centre backs, you get that extra player attacking if you play it right. You don't want to play it with 5 defending, but you do want to play it with the 3 centre backs. So there is agreement in the comments. I'm looking to see if we've got any more lineups before we chuck the score predictions on. Comment there, Brozier. Up front, DCL has too many chances now. DCL has been missing a lot of chances. Do you know sometimes, Craig, with Calvert-Lewin, it's because it's Calvert-Lewin, everyone says,
yeah,
Calvert-Lewin is a really good striker. But he doesn't score many, and he
no,
just
he
misses
doesn't.
a lot of chances. And I think sometimes, do you know where a player is, the name just sounds good. Calvert-Lewin, he's good. Or he just looks like a good player.
Yeah.
I don't think he matches up to what he looks like sometimes. And I know that's harsh because we don't create a lot of chances. But I
How
don't think
much is that
he's...
to Dyche though? How
Yeah.
much is that to Dyche? Because Solanke, there was arguments against him at first. When we was relegated into the championship, there was fans turning around and saying he wouldn't score 30 goals a season. And then he went and did it. And the reason being is because we started playing to his strengths. We started adapting. He started improving as a player. Um, and I think how much of it is down to Sean Dyche. How much of it is down to Sean Dyche with regards to Calvert-Lewin? I think there is probably a little bit to it, and maybe some of the stuff that he does not in front of goal, but bringing other players in might actually benefit Everton in the long run. But yeah, I think unfortunately, the more I've spoken to Everton fans during the space of today, the more I realise that it's a manager problem rather than the players aren't good enough. The players are good enough. The players are a lot better than what Sean Dyche had at Burnley. So unlike at Burnley when Sean Dyche, when he did get sacked, the wheels just come straight off. I can't see that happening at Everton.
No, I think we've been crying out for a skillful player like Njai. Dyche got that. Been crying
Yeah,
out for another striker, Broya. We've got him fit. Dyche has now got that. We've been
yeah,
crying out for a right winger. Dyche picked Lindstrom. He went for Lindstrom, who had a really good reputation before he joined us. Obviously not for Napoli, but the club before, and you'd expect Dyche to get the best out of him. Been crying out for a centre-back in case Tarkowski and Branthwaite get injured. We bring in O'Brien, cracking, young-looking prospect. So Dyche has had some new tools to push us on even more this season, but instead it doesn't look like he's pushing us on
no,
at all, in my opinion. I mean, Emma, she said, is in the comments, she put about he can. I read in the comments he can keep his missus can keep his mouth shut, and I was thinking, whose missus can keep his mouth shut? Who's arguing in the comments here? And then I realised that Calvert Lewin's missus started putting stuff on Instagram saying
oh,
after the game, yeah, she put stuff on Instagram about we still basically lost even when Calvert Lewin didn't play, so he isn't the problem. But we don't need that. We do
do you
not
know
need that.
what? I don't get these players. I don't get these players that and these.
I'm Mopay.
Mopay, yeah. I couldn't believe
About
what I couldn't believe what come
it.
out.
Sorry.
What?
Well,
No, don't blame you. I can't believe what come out of his, on X, and he typed that himself. Um, Actually, show some respect to your football club. That's the thing.
still,
Y-
well, I know they've got the option to buy him, and they will buy him, but we still he's still on the Everton thing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when Sean Dyche was asked about it, Sean Dyche laughed and palmed it off. But to be fair, I always said that he was a. I'm not going to say what I think of him, but I always knew he was like that. He's all mouth and no, he can't back it up with his football. He's gone over there. He's not exactly smashing it. And I think I often say that sometimes when you see players talk more than actually see them score goals and
Yeah,
stuff like that, then it shows you that their football was on a decline. And the reason that we're seeing him talk more than seeing his amazing football is because he knows he's shite. I'm sorry, but he's shite. I couldn't wait for him to go. He's not that good. We don't care. So whatever you say about us, who gives a crap, and we'll move on. But obviously, rightly call it out because he is it. I'm just calling it out because he's a bellend, and
there
that's
was
the
a
way.
rumor. There was a rumor that he was going to come here, and I think we dodged a bullet. To be honest,
Yeah.
Dan.
When you watched him for Brentford, all that he did was wind up players, and I know he scored a
Yeah.
couple of goals and stuff like that. But when you've seen him wind up Madison, and then they come back and they beat him, it was quite funny. I'm just glad we haven't got that idiot because I can't be arsed with an absolute troll like him. And I'm glad the Everton fans, after the game, called him out for being an idiot as well before he left. One
Yeah.
idiot he is. They said he's shite, and he is shite. Right, so we've got most of your lineups on the screen. Sorry if I have missed your lineup, but we are now at the end of the show. It's been a long one, but when it's good, we just keep going. That's what we do. There's been loads of comments in. If there wasn't loads of comments, I wouldn't have kept it going so long. But because you're all here and you're enjoying it, I've kept it going pretty long. So here we are. I'm interested to see what Craig's going to hit me with here. This is the score prediction, people. So get your score predictions in the comments and I'll put it on the screen. And we're going to do ours now. I was looking to see if we had guessed the score, but no. Right, here we go. Yeah. Guess the score. Post yours now in the comments, people. Craig's going to hit with. Well, after Craig saying they've got no weaknesses, I feel like I'm going to have to get my boxing gloves on right now because he's coming at me. This is the head-to-head that we all love. The score prediction at the end. Get yours in. You can put it on X and we still see it. So if you write it on X, it still comes over. Get your score predictions in now. What do you think the score is going to be? Bournemouth v Everton going down tomorrow. The biggie. Come on, Craig. Do you want to go first?
Go on.
First as well.
I think you're going to bloody frustrate us. I think Sean Dyche is going to frustrate us. And, it's not going to do either of us any favours. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
Yeah.
That is what Craig is going for. We are that pathetic on the Toffee Bluecast that we like to hear your goal scorers as well. So give me your goal scorers. 1-1. Who's your goal scorers?
I think Semenyo, and Dye, was fantastic against us last time round. So, yeah, touch wood, he's having a off day tomorrow, but I don't think he will do. But I think that Sean Dyche will go into this defensive, mode. He'll keep it tight and bore us all to tears. We'll keep knocking at the door. We won't be able to find, more than the one goal to get us through. And I think that's basically what. And then, of course, Sean Dyche will claim it as a win.
Yeah, probably would. So we could have won.
Yeah.
We defended. XG. All about the XG. XG was really good. We could have been on 5-0, but we sat back. That's what we do.
Exactly.
We've got some players on the grass coming. Don't worry about it. But that's a Sean Dyche. What probably Sean Dyche will do. So you're going 1-1.
Yeah.
My score prediction. Well, I did do it I was on your show earlier on. We did on your show on my show.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what I said, so it was different. I apologise. Right. That's how good my memory is. But sometimes that's good because if it's the same, I really do think it. My score prediction is going to be. I think I said 3-1, and I'm not changing it. And I've got a feeling I did
Yeah.
say 3-1.
Yeah, you
And I
did.
think Everton are going to win 3-1. And I know you're probably thinking Bournemouth are smashing it. And why do I think Everton are going to win 3-1? The answer is I don't know. I just hope that we can turn up this game. I hope we can go to Bournemouth, pull our socks up, and frigging show what we are. And Dyche can actually do something different and go out to win the game and just press them, attack them, and just straight from the very off score and batter these 3-1. And I want Bournemouth, I want to give them a spanking 3-1, and I want us to start thinking we can score. And I want to see Dyche show us something that he's not shown us before, that we can go out and attack. My goal scorers, look how positive I am now, fan advisory board, you know what I mean? Pablo. My goal scorers is going to be, I think, Lindstrom. He's been talking that he's going to step up. So do so, mate. I want action, not words. So Lindstrom. Broja, I think, is going to get it. I feel sorry for the forfeit for Radiant doing the forfeit. I think he'll score straight after all your forfeits are finished. So I'm going to go Broja, Lindstrom. I'm going to go for a centre-back as well. And I'm going to go for Branthwaite, a header. So Branthwaite, Broja, and Lindstrom. They are, I do want to give one better. I feel harsh because I've started him in my lineup, but they are mine. And the player that I said is fantastic for you, who you gave the goal to, Semenyo, is it? Yeah. I think he's quite decent, but he could probably score. So mine's 3-1, people. That is my score prediction. Do you think I'm mad for saying that, Craig?
To be honest, a little bit, because we know that Sean Dyche is just going to go with this defensive. But you never know, Dan. Sean Dyche might be sat there in the hotel, probably on the rooftop of the Hilton Hotel. You know, got a nice bar, outside bar there. Be freezing bloody cold with a martini, of course. You know, he'll have a packet of Lambert and Butler as well that he's chaining through, and he might be watching this, going, "Actually, that's not a bad idea. I might do that." So yeah, but we know that he's going to go with that really defensive lineup, and I'm going to be frustrated. You're going to be frustrated. Everybody in the chat's going to be frustrated, because I think personally, if you come at us a little bit more, it might play into our hands. Whereas it's going to be a real slog, you know, if he goes with what he normally does, you know, like he has done, you know, in other games. But then again, he has got good results against Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea. Yeah.
Not as good as you. Not as good as you.
No,
Not,
that's
he
very
didn't
true.
get wins.
Because
He got draws.
he's not going for the juggler. You know, he has to come out and go for games, you know, and make things happen, because the squad there is capable of winning this game. You know,
So,
but
so what
there
Craig
is
is
that.
saying, Sean Dyche, if you're listening on that balcony with your cigar in the freezing cold, and you listen to Toffee Bluecast right now, Dan has come up with this lineup that has got Craig pooing himself a little bit. So Sean Dyche, grow some bollocks, play Broja in the number 10 behind the striker, play with two proper strikers, Lindstrom instead of Harrison, and let's proper go for it. Let's have Patterson right back, bombing it forward. Let's just get the right backs bombing it forward instead of bricking it defensively. Let's get Young bombing it forward, and let's take it to Bournemouth. So Dyche, grow a pair, do what I say. It will get you the results, and it will give you a chance of keeping your job with the freaking group. It's that simple. Was that a good speech, Craig?
That is a good speech. I think that is a good speech, because, hey, even if you was to come here, you was going to play a little bit more progressive football, you was going to go for the juggler, even if you walked away from Bournemouth with nothing, you know, taking that into the next game and, you know, moving forwards from there, that will be better than what you're doing at the moment, which is just grinding out very tough draws, because, you know, against, you know, decent sides, you know, that's the biggest problem, is it is just too defensive at the moment.
It is too. Let's have a look at the scores, see what scores we've got in. Let's see what we're going to chuck at Craig. I'm going to put the scores on the screen now to end the show, people. What have we got? How positive are Everton fans? Right. So, first of all, Scouse has said 2-1 to us tomorrow. Get in there, Scouse. Love it. The Blues.
I hope he's right.
He's a proper Everton fan as well,
yeah.
but he just respects Bournemouth and bloody record. Please. Mate, I'm going to give you a kick up the arse, I tell you. Right. And I love you as well. That's the worst part, so I can't even slate you for it too much. Pooter, 2-1, Everton. Pablo has gone on from on the fan advisory board. He's gone and said, given our record down there, I'd say a draw, preferably. What he's on your train, 1-1. He's gone for. Page has gone for 4-1 Bournemouth. You're a respected team here, I tell you. 4-1.
It's not much optimism.
Emma's not even on my train either. What? I'm going to be sending the Rocky DVDs out to some of these Everton fans. I tell you, get them up for this game. But I always say what you think. To be fair, we do the.
I should ask David Icke, shouldn't I?
Right.
Should ask David Icke. You know.
I hope that cherry is meant to be a toffee sweet, Emma. I'm telling you. I hope it is. Well, it must make you feel good that people respect your team this much. The record that you put up, I'll put the stats on the screen. They speak for themselves. You're smashing it. You're not seventh for no reason, and you've been smashing teams. And we are struggling to score. So I can see it, but I'm not with you. Everton are going to win 3-1. Eugene has gone Bournemouth 1, Everton 4. I can always count on Eugene. And he's gone for a Beto hat-trick and an Njai to score again. Eugene, I needed you right then because there was 2 losses in a row. The pause has then gone on to say, I'm really sorry, but I can't see anything other than a 3-4 goal loss. Scouse has put his goal scorers up with his win, and he's gone for Tarkowski and then Njai. The Blues has gone for your striker, and he's gone for Semeya and Cook goals. He's gave us the loss, and he's even got goal scorers as well. The Blues has, so he's ripped my heart to pieces there. But we do ask for it. And Jai is our only bright spot, but let's hope he is really bright. I'm thinking on that. It's grass. He's on the grass. Dyche does people's head in because he says the players are on the grass, and that still means they're miles away. 3-1 Everton. Wow. On my score. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think we're going to win 3-1. I do think we're going to win 3-1. I know that's crazy, but I do. Just go through your comments now, trying not to miss any. I think that's all of them, people. No more. Loads coming in, even from X. Score 0-0. 6-hour coach back depressed. Yeah, it could happen. Oh, no, we want to give you a bit of excitement. We want to give you songs on the coach all the way home singing that we've won. Is there any more? I think we're coming to an end now. But when there's that many comments, it makes it all worth it. Do hit that like and subscribe. There's been plenty of people in the comments. But yeah, that's it. Craig, give yourself a plug, mate. We always use you, to be fair. Sometimes we get your other man on, sometimes we get you on. But give yourself a plug, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on, Dan. I've really, really enjoyed this. So the channel is called Up the Cherries in All Departments. You can find us by going to UTC IAD on YouTube. There is some real good stuff, actually, with regards to Everton on there. Of course, we did our preview earlier on, but we've also had Damon Minchella from Ocean Colour Scene. He's been on twice. And also, we had an Everton hero in the 1995 goal scorer, Paul Rideout. Believe it or not, he was born in Bournemouth. No, well, Bournemouth, I say it, he was born in Lymington. But of course, he's a hero at Goodison. So, yeah, come check it out and, let us know what you think.
Yeah, even if you don't support Bournemouth, go over there, give him a like and a subscribe, support his channel, and we'll often get him on when we play him. And he's, like I say, he's smashing it. Cracking guests, they are. Rideout. We had Begovic on, which we was quite proud of. A couple of psychologists going in the right direction. But yeah, it's been cracking having you on. I'm ready for you, Craig. I am ready for you. And I love doing these pre-matches because it really makes me wish the game was tonight. I do.
Yes.
I'm ready for it. It's going to be an exciting one. I am, as I've seen in the comments, a little bit nervous about this one because if we don't turn up, this is a team they're like sharks sniffing blood in football at the minute. They've got full of confidence and a bit dangerous. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We will go now. Luke Littler won the darts. He is not the age he is. He can't be. And I would slit his skin to find out whether he's a robot because he must be. He's got to be a robot, that man has. What a darts player he is. Smashed him today, didn't he? But I will drop the banner now, everyone. Have a boss one. And match reaction tomorrow. I can't wait to be on celebrating the 3-1. Isn't that right, Craig?
Well, I think I can't see it being 3-1. Sean Dyche is just going to bore us to tears, isn't he? We're just all going to be.
He listened in with his cigar, like you said. Listen to my lineup. He's going to shock us all. And we're going to smash it.
Exactly.
And then I hope you have a good season after we smash you. But we're just going to smash you and have a good season. See you later, everyone. Thanks for listening in.